So that cut right in there goes into the Bay of the Five Pirates. And I'm anchored off in Bullocks Harbor, which is wide open to the west. But there's no swell because of all the shallow water of the bank to the west and south of us. And if you go inside the Bay of the Five Pirates, in there is Great Harbor Key Marina, where you can dock your dinghy. You can get fresh water at 50 cents a gallon. Again, high prices. And you can see this this power boat is about to go right in the cut. So it's a little hard to see in there. So there's a cut there. And there's a couple of grocery stores. However, you gotta walk. You gotta walk almost a mile to get to them. But I found the store and was able to stock up, get some fresh stuff and some bottled water. And I was having a good time of it, lugging it back. And about halfway back, I got a ride from a friendly local, so that was nice. And so anyway, I'm still here hanging on my anchor. I put the dinghy back up on deck this morning, got everything stowed, and I'll do a few further preparations as the plan is to get going very early tomorrow morning, before sunup. I want to be anchor up by 5 a.m. Now the sun rises on St. Patrick's Day 2023, and we are crossing the Bahama Bank. My goal was to be up anchor at 5 a.m. Almost made that. I weighed anchor from Bullocks Harbor at about 5:15 this morning. And so we're just bombing right along here on a beam reach with about 15 knots of wind. And we're headed west-southwest across the bank toward South Riding Rock, where we'll exit the bank and cross the Gulf Stream back to Florida. Gonna try to get to Key Largo, Rodriguez Key, and then anchor there for the night, rest up, and then continue on to Key West, where I'll clear back into the United States. However, in the process of putting the jib on, I discovered a cotter pin was missing in the forestay. A cotter pin was missing in the terminal. See, this wind is coming forward even more. I gotta reset the vane here. All right, there, reset the vane. I have to crank in a little bit too. So anyway, so then I was fishing around for a cotter pin. And while I was doing that, the halyard, I had the jib hacked on, but the halyard was kind of loose, and it managed to wrap itself back around the end of the spreader. So I had to untangle that. So I finally got the jib up, and we're moving along pretty nicely now. But so we're moving pretty good now, and so nobody ever gets bored on the Ruth Avery here, I'll tell you that. So anyway, we got about a little over 40 miles to go to South Riding. I was hoping to make it off the bank before dark, but once again the wind looks like it's going to foil me here, so I'll just have to do it by the chart plotter. This guy's, okay, he's definitely going to go astern of me. If these guys are not just snoozing with the autopilot on. Anyway, here, I'll show you this guy. That's definitely a yacht. He's bombing along. I think these guys are all coming from Bimini. That's a whole different world when you can do 25 knots and just go direct from A to B. You don't you don't have all this business of trying to hank a jib on and tangling halyards and then discovering a cotter pin missing and all that sort of fun stuff. Wow, that's a nice boat. That's an expensive piece of property for sure. I was hoping to be within about 10 miles of Riding Rock by now, but as it is, we still got a good 30 miles to go. So the other debate I'm having with myself is whether I should put that Code Zero on. It would definitely work better than the jib. But then the weather forecast is still pretty brisk all the way until we get across into Florida. So it shouldn't be, there shouldn't be any need for it once these winds finally fill in. As I say, I think this is this is the result of the heating on Andros Island, which is changing all the circulation. So I think once we get out of that wind shadow, and last time I crossed, I had this same phenomenon of spending the afternoon with just light and fickle winds. Well, just after sundown, we still have almost no wind. Luckily, it's starting to come back from the southeast. And the only other good sign, I don't know if you can see it, but there's sort of a thin line of clouds approaching. I'm hoping that's the gradient wind back. I think what happens, as I said, is Andros Island heats up and it just creates a bubble of hot air. And if you're downwind of it, you're just in the doldrums, which is what we're in right now. So we'll see. I see a pretty well-defined thin line of clouds. So hopefully that's the wind. The wind will return. And it's supposed to be about 15 knots, so we shall see. Well, it's 8 in the evening on St. Patrick's Day. And I mean, just talk about getting skunked here. We still have just no wind. And both the European and GFS models I downloaded this morning, right now are showing southeast at 15, around 15 knots. And it's no knots. Well, good morning, one and all. It is Saturday morning, the 18th of March, 2023, and we are in the Straits of Florida. Just like last time, if you remember my last entry, I was on the bank and flat becalmed. And just like last time, the wind came in right after, well, a little bit after sunset. Came in around 8:30, 9 p.m. And just like last time, it rapidly built to about 20 knots. So I had to pull the jib in and ended up with 2 reefs in the main and the reef in the staysail, because it was gusting up around mid-20s, 25 or so. So that sped us on our way, but still did not exit South Riding Rock, exit the bank until 3 this morning. So we're doing okay now. Our bow is steering straight for Rodrigues Key. However, the Gulf Stream current is going to set us north a bit, so most likely I'm going to end up tacking. I'm going to have about a 10 or 15 mile upwind leg up the Hawk Channel to get to Rodrigues. Because there's no point in trying to tack into here because I'm fighting the Gulf Stream current. Or, well, I mean, I can still lay the course, but if I come close hauled, she slows down, and also I'm fighting current. So it's the better strategy is just try to get across the current as quickly as possible, which is to steer about 90 degrees to it. Consider supporting this channel by becoming a patron. As a patron, you will be able to view my videos free of ads. You will also be able to leave comments, ask questions, and message me directly. You can become a patron for as little as $5 a month.